We are in Parashat Shoftim. So the parasha starts, of course, with the word Shoftim v'Shoftim titen lecha b'chol she'arecha. You should put judges and call it policemen or monitoring people in all your get. But that doesn't help us whatsoever. Doesn't help us whatsoever because it doesn't really indicate to us or give us an indication, which is basically the same thing, on the gap between our perception of what is the judge today and what is the judge that the Torah or Judaism is expected you to be or nominate. The Zohar on Parashat Mishpatim explains that the word shofet, the meaning of the word shofet, judge, is balance. And in every person, there are three forces that operate within him, which are called koach hanetina, the ability to give, which is the kav hayamin, the right side, which is the chesed, you give. Koach hakabbalah, the power of receiving, which is kav small, which is the left side, which is din, and the middle part, gvura, which is the balancing force between the two. So, and as we said, that's the kav emtzai, that's what we're referring to with the Rambam all the time. Everybody can quote the Rambam, oh, shvila zahav, and kav emtzai, and so on and so forth. So, and that is, that if we had chesed and we had din, and that's called rachamim, or harmony. And of course the word shalom represent by harmony, and so on and so forth. According to Hebrew judicial court or system, when a person is found guilty, it's because he came out of balance. Yes, I know it sounds like Chinese acupuncture and so on and so forth, but it means that you went off balance. Something in you became unstable. So therefore, that's why you lean to this way, or you lean to that way. And most likely, it will be the kav smali. Most likely is that you went to the left side, which is din, represented by din, by judgment, and by selfishness. Call it the Jewish trifecta of ego, id, and superego. Call it whatever you want, but that's the way it works. And of course, a lot of the stuff really stems from those concepts in Judaism. And that side, the side of Smali, the left side, is really in charge of putting back, pulling you to this way, and that we create those two different forces, and then creating the thing in the middle. And that's the job of the judge, is therefore to bring about the appropriate balance, and therefore is to bring back that not criminal, but to bring back the guilty person into a state of harmony and balance. And there are different ways to do so. You were selfish, or you were doing this, you didn't care about others, and different ways to do so. If you're going to look now at the averot or crimes that a person could, that the Torah describes that a person can do, and the punishments on them, you all of a sudden realize, oh my goodness, I didn't realize that that's what it really was. And that is what does it mean, the word shafat. Shafat is really, or the meaning of the word shafat is really to bring things into balance. Therefore, the Zohar emphasizes that when the Torah tells us, Shoftim v'shotrim titen lecha, that you should put judges and policemen or guards in your gate, it really means that it is a mitzvah, right? Titen lecha, you should put yourself. It's not necessarily, it's a mitzvah for it is a mitzvah, and it is not a societal need. It's a commandment. It's not it's not what society necessarily needs. So therefore, if we have a judicial system and an executioner system like police and so on and so forth, that does not create balance or reintroduces balance to society, we got a problem, Houston. We got a problem. So, but here what the Zohar says that it's for you, it's for us. And why is it important? And why is it considered to be mitzvah? Because according to the Zohar, mitzvah is an action that connects Shamayim v'Aretz, connects heaven and earth. The mitzvah is the staple that puts these two opposing forces or realities together. And in every should I say it, in every every action that I should be able to create a balance between heaven and earth. That's why we're here. That's why God made us the way we are. In other words, I need to bring about a spiritual awareness to every physical action. Every physical action, including every physical action has to be a spiritual awareness. You can close the window there, darling, if you want. Let me just put the AC on here. I'm getting a little hot. Just do self-heat. So that's what we need to do. So when the judge or call it the policeman for that matter, and so on and so forth, and to that matter, any person who is holding a public position in society would really act from a place of purpose, from a place of meaning and a spiritual awareness and a spiritual job, because of the obligation that he understands that he needs to connect, whatever he needs to connect, and see that really his public job or his personal public job has also a divine value to it. It's not just like the way we look at it this way. There is a meaning to it, and there is a purpose to it, and of course that if we're going to do so, the driving force behind what we do is going to be completely different, and alongside with it, also the results are going to be different. Naturally, they're going to be different, because I understand that there is a deeper meaning and purpose to what I do. Now, most of us, when we're about to do something, we ask ourselves, what are we going to ask ourselves? What do I get out of it? What do I get out of it? And how many people do you know that run for office or run for a position of power do so only for personal and selfish reasons? How many people you know do it for the sake of this? Because the question is, what do I get out of this? Why should I do this? Did I get anything out of it? Very rational, but that rationalistic approach is bad. It really is bad. And so therefore when the drive to do something is really selfish and there's nothing really there to give you meaning and to give you purpose, there's not going to be any incentive for you to grow, to develop, and to really become better. And this is maybe the reason why there are so many people who are so unsatisfied from the functioning of public servants, whatever they are, whether they're politicians, mayors, shul executives, and so on and so forth. Anyone that deals with public is because of that. Because the reason that some of them, not all of them, we can be generalizing in that matter, but a great percentage of them are do so because of, hey, what do I get out of this? Or I'm looking to get something out of it, not because of their action is not driven by a sense of a mission or meaning in what they do. And that's why it looks the way they look, because there's no incentive to grow and develop. Now, and this is not only here in this country, it's basically an epidemic that we experience all over the world. And Chazal tells us that in order for the shofet, for the judge, to do his job appropriately, he needs to understand that every person has a nitzotz eloki, a divine spark in him, that he needs to find it, he needs to love it, and needs to bring about to a state of a fix-up and a balance. That's what the job of the judge is. You're not here trying to show people how smart you are, how this you are. You're a servant of the people, and if you have a fantasy of having servants, right? I wish that you would live your fantasy by becoming the people's servant, as much as you would like people to serve you. Oh my goodness, what a world we will be in. I see trees of green and clouds of white. Yes, something like this. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. If we would only serve people as much as we want to be served by others. Now, it's very important to understand that and to remember that. Now, when call it the judge or the public servant doesn't understand that, and he doesn't understand that his job is God-given job to him. It's a mission that you were sent to by God Himself. So therefore, when he doesn't understand that, and it was a mission that was given to you, he doesn't understand that. So therefore, he is pasul. He is exempt from becoming the judge in that case, right? And he was something that he was supposed to do, and he is not doing it now. And when you're not doing something, right, when there's no rule, that rule is not being followed, there is a halal. There is an opening, a vacancy, an open space. Now, in our Parashat, the word halal appears also. Not halal for like, Allah Akbar, different types of halal, yes? Halal of space. So therefore the halal, and then the Parashat says, ki matzeh halal, right? Right? And it says, nefel basadeh, and so on and so forth. And then, if all of a sudden we see something in the, so we always refer to as a dead person and so on and so forth, but halal. In other words, the Shoftim go out and they see a certain vacancy. Now pay attention. So therefore, and then, of course, the Shoftim, the judges or the public officials, supposed to go out and measure themselves which city is closer to the quote-unquote halal and not necessarily a dead person. We always say it refers to a dead person, but it refers to this as well. The judges or the elected people are supposed to see what's closer to the halal. And after that, the city was measured, the closest city was measured to the place of the body. In terms of this case, the judges of the city are being held as being responsible for that act of murder, even though they didn't do it, but they are responsible for that. And therefore, those judges needs to do a very weird and bizarre ceremony of what we call the Egla Arufah, when they bring it to this female calf, they bring it to the river, and then they chop the head off, and so on and so forth. And then over there, they say something which is quite bizarre. And afterwards, these are judged, and they're all men with beards and turbans, and so on and so forth. And they come in to say, "Yadenu lo shafchu et adam." Our hands did not spill this blood. Of course, you couldn't spill this blood. So what does it mean? It says, our hands did not spill this blood, and our eyes did not see it. In other words, the Torah gives the responsibility for this murder on the leaders of the city and those who were elected. And these are the ones who are in charge and responsible for the social justice of your community and whatever stems from it. So to Parashat Shoftim, there is also a direct connection to Chodesh Elul, to the month of Elul that we are just entered now, and on regular basis always happen there. And the Zohar on this pasuk says, "Al pi shneim edim o shlosha edim yumat hamet," which again is very bizarre. The Zohar asks a question. 1 second. Al pi shneim o shlosha edim. According to 2 or 3 witnesses, Yumat, he will be killed. Who? Hamet? The dead person? He's already dead. I mean, the pasuk does not make sense. It should say, Al pishnayim v'shlosha edim Yumat ha'adam. The person will die. The person will be killed. The guilty person. So, but you're here to tell me the dead person will die. So therefore, it really doesn't make sense. What does it mean? If he's met, I'm going to kill him again. Why? I'm going to kill him twice? I mean, you can't kill a person twice. So it's very interesting. Rav Ashlag explains that every Rosh Hashanah, the world comes back again to the state that it was in Bereshit. And how fantastic this idea is. Because Aleph Betishrei, it's the same letter of Bereshit. Aleph In other words, you have a chance every year to rejuvenate yourself from the beginning. Drop everything that you had before, and you have a chance to start new from the beginning. And now, take it whichever way you want. You Adam, and what did you do? If you are Adam, okay, let's find Chava a little later, but if you are Adam, what are you doing in Gan Eden? Usually what we do is, regardless of our position, is we do what Adam did. All of us. We put the responsibility for our mishaps on somebody else. Do we learn from Adam? But that's exactly what happens here. So therefore, when we do so, and it's giving us another opportunity to really reconnect. You're coming back again, Tzaddik, right? Coming back again. So it gives us an opportunity to reconnect again to the Kadosh Baruch Hu and to really draw and pull back from it a divine shefa, a divine abundance for the year that comes. And for that, we need to make space in ourselves. In order to get more shefa, we need to make some space. And that space is what we are dealing with. That's the met. That we need to kill, in a way, the enemy inside of us, which is selfishness, criticism, sarcasm, and so on and so forth, towards others, that puts people apart and puts people away from one another, and now we need to direct it towards us, to have a good look into what we are doing. Instead of pointing your fingers at others, now we take the finger and put it on ourselves. And that's what we're doing on Chodesh Elul, because if we'll be the ones who are judging ourselves, we'll be able to come back to balance. Why? Because Shoftim u'shotrim titen lecha, to you. In this case, you should be the judge, you should be the prophet, you should be the king, you should be everything. Lecha, b'chol sha'arecha. So, that's why one of the reasons we read Parashat Shoftim during this time, because the ability to judge things, to measure things, is given to us now more than ever before, more than any other month, more than any time in the year. Dafka in this month of Chodesh Elul. Another hint or another connection to the direct, or should I say, another hint to the direct connection of Parashat Shoftim that happens always in Chodesh Elul and to the month of Elul is to the sign of the month of Elul. I'm not really an astrology freak, but the sign of Chodesh Elul is Virgo. And really, like, the best people were born on the sign of Virgo. By the way, you like it. You like it. By the way, you like the shiurim? Everybody, you guys over there in the video like the shiurim. So I would right now. I think I would pause now and I would stop and I'll wait for everybody to press like, because if not, I'm not going to continue. No, I'm waiting for everybody. How many likes do you think we got so far? Or so I'll continue or just wait?
They liked it.
They liked it? Okay, so of course they like it. Anyway, they like it and they don't, and they're very mature people. They don't find things offensive or offended. Yeah. So the sign of this month is Virgo, Betula, a virgin, right? And there's tremendous symbolism to that sign. Besides the fact that some wonderful people were born there. So one of the characteristic of this birth sign is being very, very particular, paying attention to details and so on and so forth, right? And this month we all turn to become judges, right? But it's better us that we first of all and most of all judge and balance ourselves before we do others. So the thing is internal. That's why it's a betula. Therefore the timing is perfect. A minute before Rosh Hashanah, we get a special ability to really level the books out. To balance the books out, right? By becoming very, very detail oriented. Because Mazal Betula, Virgos are very known to be very orderly oriented, and the stuff is organized and so on and so forth. And that's exactly what we need for this time. We need people who this ability inside of us to organize things, to sit down and to make an inventory, to fix things out, to balance things out, and so on and so forth. By the way, a lot of accountants are not Virgos. They are. What are you?
Toro? I mean Scorpio?
You're not a Scorpio. You're a Scorpio?
October.
Ah, forget what I said. Anyway, so I thought you were like, how do you call those guys?
Libra.
Libra, yes, Libra. Anyway, so which really comes, basically, you could see, should I say, you could really see how the spiritual attributes really have an effect on us ourselves, and also how they have an effect, and with this world. This is how we interact. We just need to understand, and we need to realize that, and like this month, like any other month, if we go to the sign of this month, which is a Virgo, we need to understand what is this all about. So if we connect ourselves with the root of this month and what comes out of that, just like that, we'll be able also to connect to the root of the month and whatever comes along with it, which is Rosh, it's the beginning. And we need to prepare ourselves to the beginning. And over there is the potential to be able to execute in the beginning. That's where we determine the potential to execute and to bring about everything else in our way. We are lucky that we get this chance every single year anew. So before you're going to be able to send your troops out, you need to take an inventory of what you did and what you didn't do, where you're holding, and so on and so forth. What is HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants from me, doesn't want from me. And the point of this month, the spiritual point of this month, is called, the month of Elul, of course, is called Ani Ledodi Vedodi Li, which is this love, which is called Ahavat HaDodim, is a point or a type of love which I understand what God wants from me, and I want it. What He wants from me, that's what I want. And the other way around. Ani Ledodi Vedodi Li, but first of all is I need to understand what God wants from me, and I need to bring about that His will is my will again. But first is Ani Ledodi. I need to bring myself, and we need to understand this very, very carefully. And again, the Ari tells us that the Olam Kulo, the whole entire universe, is one man, is like a man, and a man is like the whole entire universe. Kol Metzil Nefesh Echad B'Yisrael Ki'ilu Yitzil Olam Shalem. So it's this together. The universe could represent it as one man, and the man could represent it as one universe. So understanding that, we need to understand again, that's what brings us to, that it's not necessarily only about society, but we are talking about the way we conduct ourselves as well in a healthy and a very important way that would serve not only me, but serve the whole purpose of creation as well. When the man becomes the judge, he's the judge, as we said before, he's the king, he's the cop, he's the prophet, he's everything. You need to understand that all these forces exist within you, and you need to conduct yourself according to the way the Torah wanted you to do so, and this is how things are being fixed. And our generation is called Ikvata de Meshicha, the foothill, the footprints of Mashiach, or the hills of Mashiach, right? At the end, with the last generation. And our generation, like it, you like it, don't like it, it said something that we all know, but we don't really like. Pnei hador kepnei hakelev. The face of the generation is like the face of a dog. And of course, that brings us to the point, this is a very interesting mashal from the Magid Miduvna. He's a crazy mashalim, beautiful stuff. He said, one time the dog meets the lion. And, it goes like this, and the dog goes to the lion. Things are not fair. It's really not fair. Everybody likes. They love you. They even put your pictures on the Aron Kodesh, on the Parashat. They put pictures on the Ari, on the Sefer Torah. They put your pictures. Me, when somebody wants to call his friend his name, you dog. That is not fair. What kind of thing is that? What did I do wrong? The lion said to him, it's very simple. Me, I'm an equal opportunity hunter. I see people, whether you like me or like me, I see I'm hungry, I eat everybody. You bark at everybody. You bite everybody. But all it takes for me to do, or for anybody to do, is to throw you a little bone, give your dog a bone, and you're already like licking my hand. And we need to remember that. Now, I'm going to tell you something. If we look at the word dog, or if I'm from Long Island, it's a dog, right? What's the gematria of a dog in Hebrew?
52.
52. Wow, Kelev, 52. Chaf, Lamed Bet, 20, 30, and 2, 52. מה מניין כלב? מה מניין 52? Ben! What does it mean? Ben. What's the connection between being a dog or being a son? Well, that's up to you. How do you want to serve God? You want to serve God like a dog? Give me, 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 give me. And then it throws you something, you go like this. Idol, go like this. Or you want to serve God like a son that loves him, not because what he gives him, because he loves him, because that's your daddy. So you want to be a dog or you want to be a son? How do you want to worship God? How do you want to have your relationship with God? And that's the remez that we have here all the time. And we need to understand that internally in our hanaga pnimit, in the way we conduct ourselves, to be very careful from going down to the phenomena of a dog. Tofa'at ha-kelev, what's it so-called. We have to be very, very careful. The kelev is our willingness to receive, to give, to give, to give. It's all the time. In Hebrew we say, have, right? Like, give all the time, right? And we need to be very, very careful. Why? Because that willingness to receive all the time, Ashochad Ya'aver Einei Chachamim, is going to make the wise man blind. So how could I judge myself to tell things that I'm doing right or I'm doing wrong if everything I'm doing is for myself, to serve myself? Now we're not going to be able to fix it. I'm being bribed. I am bribing myself. I'm not being loyal to the truth. I can't do it like that. I can't fix it. And we are very, very careful. We gotta be very careful. Whether it's our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu or with other people. If they're going to be two people, one is what they call a Pashut Yid, which by itself is a tremendous level to be in, right? And it's not so Pashut to be a Pashut Yid, I'll tell you that much. Or a guy who is like, I don't know, like who is he? I don't know, senator, a nice Jewish senator. Right? So who are you going to pay attention? Both of them are coming to you. Who are you going to say shalom first? Of course you're going to not only say shalom, say please, the other Pashut Yid you're not going to look at. Maybe this is one of the Lamed Vav Tzadikim Bichlal you didn't pay attention to. Don't be meshuchad by externalism. תתחבר לפנימיות, connect yourself to the פנימיות. Be mechabed el hakaron, mechabed kol adam ve'adam, every person, Jew or Gentile, you have to say hello, you have to respect. And we need to remember that in order, and this is all to fix ourselves. And when he says tzedek tirdov in the parasha, why tzedek tirdov? Because there are two different types of tzedek. One tzad is the mashpia, and the other side is the nishpa. One is from this side and one is from the other side. One from the side of giving and one on the side of receiving. And the sferot, in regard to Kabbalah, the sferot, the mashpia, and the mekabel, it's called Yesod Malchut. So when we know how to put the name of Yudke Vavke, which is the great light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in tzedek, in an appropriate manner, so therefore reality changes. המציאות משתנה. Because אתה עכשיו מדבר רק תורה, אתה חושב רק תורה. You measure, you think in Torah, you measure everything according to the laws of the Torah. You are able to bring the pnimiyut into that. And then you get mishpat tzedek. Now, and of course, then, if you really want to take it, then we're going to make sha'arei tzedek, gates, or the gates that you enter, are all going to be gates of righteousness. And that is, when you put everything, as the tzedek becomes tzedakah. Tzedakah means tzedakah, right? Tzedakah yichashev lanu. When we do the tzedek, HaKadosh Baruch Hu machshiv it to us for as a tzedakah, as a zchut for us that we do when we are righteous, we do things appropriately according to the way the Torah wants us to do. When we don't put ourselves in front of everything else, we put everything else in front of ourselves. We understand that it is a big merit for us that God has chosen us to do whatever task that He's assigned us to do. And we must understand that. And don't run away from it. And that's why we said tzedakah tatzil mimavet, and tzedakah, charity helps and saves the world, and that's what olam chesed yibaneh. A person that, we do tzedek. If you take tzedek, the word tzedek, right? And then what happens? You take the Shem of Hashem, the Yud and the Hey, right? The Yud and the Hey, which is the your hand that gives it, right? And look how it is. It becomes tzedakah, the tzedek that you do with somebody else. When you give tzedakah to a person, the guy puts his hand out, right? That's the tzad mekabel, and the guy puts it in. So from tzedek represents what we said before. All of a sudden it becomes tzedakah. We turn everything into a word of chesed. Not only we balance things, we make things so much better. And the whole entire universe, the whole entire creation is all about oppositions of things, of water and fire, or wind and dust, and so on. Our job is always to create the balance in between. So the same thing goes, to everything we said, is try to find the balance in everything you do, to bring meaning and spirituality to everything we do. So every time we speak about this parasha, we talk about gates, everybody talks about shmirat ha'einayim, shmirat ha'peh, shmirat ha'oznayim, all these bodily things. However, the Netivot Shalom brings, it says, and I'm quoting, shekol mahut ha'adam murkevet misha'arim. The whole essence of man is designed and built out of gates, out of opening. V'chol chayei ha'adam tluim b'she'arim. And everything is dependent on these gates. Now, we always think of those openings, but it's a very deep idea of entering one stage, entering another gate, coming with the more gates you entered, the closer you get to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And it says, because that's why it says on Yaakov Avinu, he came to Har HaMoreh, it says Makom Bet HaMikdash, and it says, Enzekim Bet Elokim V'zeh Sha'ar HaShamayim, the gate of heaven, right? And Makom Bet HaMikdash, we all know that it's Nekudat HaChibur, it's the place that we connect this world with the other world. And that's where the place where all the Shefa comes from, all the words down to our world. And that's called Sha'ar HaShamayim, the gate of heaven. And this is the opening in which we should connect ourselves in a tremendous way to the spirituality. That's why you should know that every time has a gate. Kol davar be'ito bezmano. In other words, you can't enter gates that are not open to you, because there is a time that you should enter this gate. And when you're not ready to enter the gate, you can't get in. And when you enter Shamayim also, there are gates that you go. Sheva Sha'arim. You go from one gate to another, and you have to have a special password to go into the gate and to the other gate, and so on and so forth. And our awareness during those moments when we enter the gate, it's what would determine the path, or our future path that we are going. So we're at the beginning of Chodesh Elul, and the Hasidim always say that the year starts from Chodesh Elul. Why? Because Elul is the gate for the new year. You want to know how your new year will be? Well, look at your behavior on Chodesh Elul. Always look at the behavior. So this is the gate. It's like, if you look, there are doors that are very like this, narrow. And then if you look at the gates, for example, of the old city, it's like few meters. The whole gate is very wide. Chodesh Elul is a gate like that we're walking in, which is called Chodesh HaTshuva, Chodesh of coming with answers. Not only coming back, but Tshuva, we have an answer for what we did. We need to find the answers to the questions we had inside. Why did we do this? Why did we do the other? Do you have answers to yourself? Why am I not doing what I want to do, and so on? This is a month of contemplation, of looking inside, Itbonenut Pnimit. Which avodah we did? What kind of job did we do? What was the quality of the job that we do? Did we choose to do the job to Hashem? Will we choose to be slaves of God or slaves of men? What job or what tasks are ahead of us. So we know what to finish, because if I don't know what is waiting for me and what is expected of me to do, how could I ever finish my job? So before my time starts, before you start going to a job interview, right? They tell you, okay, you accepted to the job. Yeah, we all accepted to the job, and now your job will be to be the director of coffee making. Okay, I know I need to be coffee making, right? You're going to pay me a salary to be the director of coffee making, and that's what I'm going to be doing. You know, of course, you're not going to come to me with complaints if that's my job to do and I did my job. Why, for example, packages did not go to our troops in Bagram in Afghanistan? Because it's not my job, but I need to do what I need to do in order to do it appropriately. Because my job, doing my job, affects him doing his job, and he's doing his job, and all of us doing our job, and we all need to understand that. And the whole concept of Chodesh Elul really comes to, and it starts the whole job of Shoftim v'Shotrim, and the fact that I need to look at my own self and my own world comes before, and don't think because of selfishness, comes mishum ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, because I love my fellow Jew, and I want all of us to be able to finish the job. And we need to really take a very, very close look at ourselves. Like, for example, Yaakov, remember when you were in the army, would you, before you go to Peilut, to some kind of, let's say, ambush, would you check your gun, make sure it's clean, make sure everything is working? It's like, machpatli, we'll put the bullet, right? You clean it and you check it and you make sure there's not even that's in a weapon of to kill. You make sure that there's not even a grain of sand, not even a grain of sand inside your barrel that's going to affect it. If we are so careful with that, with weapons of how we're going to kill people, how much we should be careful with what's supposed to bring life to people, or with the life of other people. That it's dependent on us, because chaim emavet beyad halashon. You can make a person, you can kill a person. Our reality is really designed, is really compiled with all the things that we allow ourselves to be exposed to. So don't expect to have Torah penetrated in you when you chose not to expose yourself to Divrei Torah, when you chose not to expose yourself to people who learn in Torah. Don't expect yourself to become a positive person when all you hear all day long is negative and negativity. That's why I said to you 50 million times, stop listening to the news. If you want to text your friend, the sky is falling, send them before it's something good. That's why I said to some of you, guys, please send me only good things. I want to hear only good things. Don't send me bad things. Only good things. Because it affects me and it affects you. So that when we do so, when we know the gates and we're able to walk into the gates, we walk into the gates, like walking into the light, right? And I'm able to connect with Ani Lidodi Vidodi Li. I know who I'm going towards, and I know why I'm doing what I'm doing. And our job is really to really strengthen our closeness to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, first of all, to His Torah, to one another. That's why I said to you before, one of the things that you need to take a very good look at yourself this year is on your friends. Make sure you're maintaining your friends, because you're not going to be able to make it without your friends. And who are your friends? Your people who sit down and break bread with you every single day and you learn Torah with. These are the people who are willing to connect with you as much as you're willing to connect with them together, to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. By doing so, we're both going to be able to achieve two things, which are basically one thing. It's in ourselves and the others, and that's called uviarta hara mikirbecha. Levaer. Levaer is to exterminate. Levaer et hara mikirbecha, to remove, to exterminate the bad qualities, the negativity from within. To really exterminate the need to receive without giving. Because when we do so, we say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please, God, give us your light, but we don't want to fix the kli. We don't want to fix the vessel. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to give us the light. But we need to understand that fixing the vessel is our job. That's how we form the partnership. That's why this month is a Betula, is a virgin, is new, is not touched. It's ready to be filled. It's ready, and that's what we say. En ha'isha kona et atzma ela lemi she'asa kli. A person, a woman, is connecting herself to whoever will make her a vessel. And Am Yisrael is considered to be a woman who is made by a vessel, or to a vessel by God. Because God fills us, our vessels, with His light. And that's why, if now you understand that, you might understand how a husband should treat his wife and what's the relationship that a husband and wife should have of longing to one another. And you can see it better than anywhere else in Shir HaShirim. And that's what we should do to ourselves, I think. And that's why I learned from this week's Parashat. So, Rabbatai, there's a lot of work. But before we have all this work, I just want to tell you something. If you ever feel alone, you're not alone. Not alone. Look around you and realize how lucky you are to have people who share the same ambition that you do. The same goal. People are searching for meaning. People are searching for purpose. So you're not alone, so don't give up. You need us, we need you, we need one another. And that's how we're going to make it. That's how we're going to walk the gate. We're going to walk through this gate, from gate to gate. We're going to go together, embrace ourselves, one hand, one man, one people, to the light of God. Shabbat Shalom.